June 22, 1944. Veterans Promise. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Servicemen's Readjustment Act into law, a landmark legislation widely known as the GI Bill. This act had far-reaching implications for the United States, both in the immediate aftermath of World War II and for decades to follow. Enacted just weeks after the D-Day invasion, the bill was designed to assist returning veterans with the transition to civilian life. The law provided a comprehensive package of benefits that included tuition and living expenses for education, low-interest home loans, unemployment compensation, and job placement assistance. Its implementation marked a turning point in American social policy, economic growth, and the structure of higher education. The legislation was crafted in response to concerns that the return of millions of soldiers could lead to mass unemployment and economic instability, as had occurred following World War I. The American Legion, a powerful veterans organization, played a central role in drafting and promoting the bill. Unlike the Bonus March crisis of 1932, where veterans were met with force after demanding compensation, the GI Bill reflected a more proactive and respectful approach toward veterans' needs. President Roosevelt initially supported a narrower version focused on education and training, but the final act expanded the scope of benefits substantially, covering nearly all aspects of veterans' civilian reintegration. One of the most enduring impacts of the GI Bill was on higher education in the United States. Prior to the war, college education was reserved largely for the upper and upper middle classes. By 1956, approximately 7.8 million of the 16 million World War II veterans had taken advantage of the education benefits provided by the GI Bill. The surge in college enrollment transformed American universities and community colleges, prompting campus expansions, curriculum reforms, and the hiring of more faculty. This expansion contributed to the growth of a skilled workforce and helped establish the U.S. as a leader in science, technology, and industry in the post-war era. In addition to education, the bill provided veterans with access to federally backed home loans, which required no down payment and offered favorable interest rates. Between 1944 and 1952, nearly 2.4 million veterans obtained home loans through the program. This spurred a boom in suburban housing construction and home ownership, particularly in the Northeast and Midwest. The suburbanization movement became a defining feature of post-war American life and contributed to the expansion of the middle class. The bill's economic impact extended beyond housing. By increasing consumer demand and creating new markets, it helped stimulate economic growth in the late 1940s and 50s. The GI Bill also included provisions for unemployment benefits. Veterans were eligible for up to 52 weeks of unemployment compensation at $20 per week, a significant safety net at a time of economic uncertainty. Though only a fraction of eligible veterans used the full allotment, the provision helped alleviate immediate financial pressure and provided time to find employment or pursue education. While the GI Bill was widely praised, it was not implemented equitably across all demographics. Discriminatory practices, especially in the Jim Crow South, limited African American veterans access to educational institutions and home loans. Many black veterans were denied admission to predominantly white colleges and were forced into overcrowded historically black colleges and universities, which lacked the capacity to accommodate the increased demand. In housing, discriminatory lending practices and redlining prevented many black veterans from purchasing homes in suburban areas, reinforcing segregation and economic inequality. Despite these shortcomings, the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944 remains one of the most influential pieces of social legislation in American history. It set a precedent for government-funded support of education, home ownership, and workforce development. The legislation demonstrated that public investment in individuals could yield significant returns in economic productivity and civic engagement. The GI Bill fundamentally altered the American social landscape, laying the foundation for a more educated, prosperous, and home-owning middle class, while also highlighting the persistent racial inequities embedded in American institutions. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.